one game you've played?
Well, it's not Monster Hunter Wilds,
No.
like it was last month, because even though it did get its hooks into me a fair bit more than a lot of people, I've just fallen off it massively, which it did surprise me because I thought I would at least stay hooked until the first big title update was released, which has added in a whole bunch of stuff that absolutely should have been in the game at launch. But I guess they wanted to do a bit of, I don't know, carrot sticking, which has been unfortunately unsuccessful for me.
The carrot was not worth the bite.
No, I might get back into it at some point, maybe when there's been a few more updates, but I just don't feel the itch needs scratching yet. In the meantime, I picked up another game, which is a big itch scratcher for my brain, but it's actually taken me a little while to get around to playing properly, and that is Diablo IV.
You bought that fucking years ago, didn't you? When did it come out?
Last year? Year before last? I don't know.
I want to know, because I swear, I remember you being excited. If I remember correctly, you may have bought it on two different platforms.
1st of June 2023.
2023?
Yeah, so it's almost
2 years.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I know. I mean, there's certainly a parallel here with Monster Hunter because I got very, very hooked on Diablo 3 on Switch, like I did with Monster Hunter Rise.
Yeah.
I got very, very excited about the next games in their respective series, pre-ordered them to play day one, and then got a bit disappointed. However, with Diablo 4, I think it was simply a case of just not being in the mood for that type of game. Because the content of this game and the quality of it is absolutely top tier, and I'm glad I finally got around to playing it properly because, yeah, I invested quite heavily in it, double dipping, getting a copy on PC as well to play on my Steam Deck via cross save with my PS5. Although I didn't buy the game on Steam because it wasn't out on Steam at the time, so I had to get Battle.net running as a separate thing.
Sideload it, yeah.
Yeah. On my Steam Deck, but it works and plays brilliantly. Diablo 4 absolutely doesn't reinvent the Diablo wheel. It immediately feels exactly like its predecessors, albeit with more detail in the environment, better lighting. The first thing that does start to set the game apart is that the overworld is no longer randomly generated. It's all designed, and it's flipping huge as well. There are lots of distinct areas around the map with deserts and mountains, jungles and plains to explore, all inhabited with brilliantly varied settlements, communities, towns, flora and fauna. There's over 100 dungeons that you find around the world that still provide the randomly generated variety that you would want from that design element. But I much, much prefer having like a set overworld to explore and tick off.
All right.
There we go. Yeah. Get my tick out. The gameplay of Diablo 4 is pretty much exactly as I remember it from Diablo 3. You have a fighter and you just make it as powerful as possible to kill as many demons and monsters and enemies as possible. As you level up, the world levels up and you just keep going. It's helped by the fact that I once again opted to go for a barbarian class character, or barbarian, and attempted the all-swinging whirlwind build that I did in Diablo 3, and then the game, it just becomes, Vampire
Survivors.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. Essentially, Diablo 4 essentially what Diablo 4 boils down to is numbers get bigger. That's it. Find new armor. Is the number bigger? Yeah, I'll have it. Find a new weapon. Is the number bigger? Yes, I'll have that. Have you reached a peak point of your numbers getting bigger? Unlock a new system to help my big numbers get even bigger. Numbers too big? Deal with it. Make different big numbers. Find things that don't make numbers. Make them make numbers and make those numbers bigger.
Yeah.
It's very satisfying, especially with like some of the best sound design work in video game history. It's just endlessly addictive sound effects that augment the endlessly chaotic, numerous, violent fighting. Like, the more pustulant, the better. Honestly, the sheer level of demonic squelch is off the chain. It becomes almost meditative. Not for anybody else who's in the vicinity of me playing, but it's like the adult equivalent of a baby's white noise machine for me. And you just get then these punctuations in amongst all of the splatter of treasure dropping or an item dropping, and it's just you always have like the intention of just growing your builds towards essentially bullet heaven type of situation. You can definitely see the roots of Vampire Survivors in the Diablo games for sure. And it's a type of gameplay that is so good and so satisfying that you don't need a story to contain it. That's where Monster Hunter Wilds fell down, because it forced the story on you, and the story was dreadful. The story in Diablo 4, on the other hand, isn't massively forced on you, but it is also absolutely brilliant. It is shamelessly epic. It gleefully attempts to bring the whole extremities of heaven and hell into a human context and revels in everything that brings. The characters are brilliantly written. The cutscenes are all amazing. Especially, there's a few like fully rendered cutscenes. They are staggeringly good. I mean, like they could easily be big screen, like big budget computer animated movie type thing. They're just phenomenal. Obviously, the in-game like cutscenes are obviously less impressive, but they're still stunning, especially on the PS5. And the writing is just so good and epic, and the voice acting is brilliant across the board, especially Ralph Ineson, aka Finchy from The Office.
Shit. I wouldn't have got that reference otherwise.
Soon to be appearing as Galactus in Marvel's Fantastic Four. I mean,
what's going on?
What's going on? Like I said, you don't even need a good story to make these games fun to play. Like, I don't remember anything of the story in Diablo 3, but the fact that it's here and there are characters that you do care about is just such a bonus. And this definitely extends to the DLC, Vessel of Hatred, which I jumped straight into when I finished the main game. I didn't double dip with the DLC though, because unfortunately that doesn't. I would have to if I wanted to keep playing it on the Steam Deck as well, so I just stuck to the PS5 for that. But I wanted to jump straight in to see what happened to these characters after the end of the main story. It wasn't just so that I could, make my numbers go bigger.
But a little bit.
It was like, obviously, yes. Obviously, yes.
Yes.
But like, I had a palpable concern for one of the characters, and I wanted to make sure she was going to be all right. But it's a great expansion. It brings some new mechanics to play around with as well, to augment the gameplay. It's a whole huge new area. And also the music in Vessel of Hatred is absolutely brilliant too. Like the underscoring in the main game was like absolutely fine. It was exactly as you'd expect. But they really stepped it up in the DLC. It's fantastic. And then you've got the seasonal content to engage with if you want, with each season of the game offering up new and varied ways to play. But it does also require you to start a new character from scratch to play each season of the game, and which I totally understand why. Otherwise, people would get no value out of the content by blitzing through it with an overpowered character. And it also encourages players to try out different classes, different builds. But having just played over 100 hours creating my absolute perfect specimen of a barbarian, it's a bit much to want to reset all of that to play the seasonal content. Obviously, if I'd have played this at launch, there would have been a couple of months until the seasonal content started, so I might have had the inkling to do that. And by the time you're listening to this, not you, because you're listening to this now, but
everybody else,
the next season will just have launched, season 8, and it's launching at the end of April. So I'm feeling the itch to start a new character, maybe try a different class and try out that content. And Blizzard have outlined like the roadmap for the next couple of years of content for Diablo 4. There's a second piece of DLC coming next year, which I'll be very excited to play. So yeah, Diablo 4, it doesn't reinvent the Diablo wheel, but obviously the wheel famously doesn't need reinventing because it does a great job.